Remember that nostalgic X-Men theme song? I never thought I'd be hearing it again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is back. This felt like when I was a kid, coming back from school and watching X-Men the animated series on TV. Honestly, one of the best cartoon series that I watched as a kid. When I first saw that they released X-Men 97, I thought that with the current state of Marvel television, with Ironheart, Wonder Man, She-Hulk, I thought it would just be another generic show, and boy, I could not be more wrong. I thought it would be just another Marvel cash grab, but genuinely, it is one of the best superhero animated shows airing right now. The reviews for Season 1 were great, and with Season 2 just releasing, I had to see what this hype was about, and let me just say, I get it. I understand it now, and I'm sorry for not seeing this earlier. Just incredible writing, unforgettable characters, and a reminder of why people fell in love with the X-Men in the first place, and also why you should fall in love with them now. So today, I want to talk about why X-Men 97 deserves the hype, and why you should be watching this. Warning, potential spoilers ahead. One of the biggest reasons X-Men 97 works is because it never feels like it's trying to convince you to love it. It assumes you've either watched the original series, or you're willing to jump in and figure things out. That confidence is refreshing. A lot of modern reboots spend so much time reminding you why you used to love something that they forget to tell a new story. X-Men 97 does the exact opposite. The colourful costumes are back. This show gives us the perfect mix of nostalgia and something brand new. The writers immediately start pushing these characters into situations they've never faced before. This isn't a remake, this is the next chapter. Most modern superhero shows are terrified of consequences. The story of this show is magnificent. It follows a story of the X-Men without Charles Xavier. Without him, the X-Men have lost the person who's always been their moral compass. Suddenly, everyone has to figure out what Xavier's dream actually means without the man who created it. And that's the brilliant place to start, because it forces every character to grow instead of simply repeating what we've already seen. This show features the OG cast: Wolverine, Beast, Rogue, Jubilee, Jean Grey, Cyclops, Storm, Bishop, Nightcrawler, and many more. The scope of characters being introduced is massive, and with the talks of the show being over 10 seasons, that could very much be possible. Charles entrusted his dream to Magneto, and it's safe to say the X-Men are not happy bunnies. The X-Men question themselves, trust is put on the line, and we are dealt with emotional consequences. We have a layered story, which is great. For example, the story behind Jean Grey and Cyclops is great. We're hit with a huge bomb towards the beginning of the season. We see the birth of Jean Grey and Cyclops' child, only to find out that the real Jean Grey was trapped and Mr. Sinister cloned her to produce this baby that he wanted to make invincible. Each character goes through their own story, which is great, as these stories are within the main story, which keeps it refreshing and engaging. But the main story with Magneto, the Sentinels, Trask was just peak. What happened in Genosha was amazing. It's one of those moments that completely changes the direction of the series. It's shocking, heartbreaking, and it works because the show spends time making you care about the people involved before everything falls apart. That's something a lot of stories forget. Spectacle means nothing if you don't care about the people caught in it. X-Men 97 understands that. The emotional impact always comes first, and the consequences always pay off. If there's one thing X-Men 97 absolutely nails, it's the characters. Let's start with Cyclops. For years, he's been the butt of the joke. People saw him as the boring leader standing in Wolverine's way. This series completely changes that. Instead of making him stoic and emotionless, it shows why the X-Men follow him in the first place. He's decisive under pressure. He genuinely cares about his team. And when impossible choices have to be made, he's willing to carry that burden even when everyone else disagrees. By the end of the season, it's easy to see why comic fans have spent years saying Cyclops deserved better. Then there's Magneto. This might honestly be my favourite character of the entire season. What makes him so compelling isn't just his powers, it's that you understand exactly why he believes what he believes. He spends his entire life watching hatred repeat itself over and over again. So when he argues that Xavier's peaceful dream can't work forever, you don't automatically dismiss him, you question him, sometimes you even agree with him. That's what makes great villains so memorable. They don't think they're evil, they think they're right. And X-Men 97 constantly challenges the audience to decide where they stand. Each character has moments where they shine, Storm being another primary example. And in the upcoming seasons, I have no doubt they will continue to do so. Another thing I loved was the pacing. Most streaming shows seem to have one of two problems. They either stretch so thin that it feels like nothing happens for 3 episodes, or they cram so much into the story that none of it has time to breathe. Somehow, X-Men 97 finds the perfect middle ground. Every episode moves the story forward, every conflict changes the characters, every subplot eventually pays off. Nothing feels like filler, well, maybe except that Jubilee episode when she was trapped in the video game. What's really impressive is that despite adapting multiple comic storylines, the season never really felt messy. That's because the storyline is connected by one central idea. Can Xavier's dreams survive in a world that keeps proving Magneto right? Once you notice that, everything clicks into place. The animation deserves a lot more credit than it gets. Instead of chasing realism, it fully embraces its comic book roots. The colors are vibrant, the action is dramatic, every character moves in a way that reflects their personality. Nightcrawler's teleportation feels graceful. Storm's powers make her look almost mythical. Magneto dominates every scene he's in. Even quieter moments are beautifully animated because the characters are constantly expressing emotion through subtle facial expressions and body language. The action isn't exciting because things explode, it's exciting because every fight tells a story. Every punch, every power, every decision reveals something about the characters involved. That is good animation. When I finished the season, I kept asking myself one question. Why does this show feel so much more satisfying than so many other superhero projects? I think the answer is surprisingly simple. It remembers what the X-Men have always been about. Yes, they're superheroes, but they're also trying to find their place in a world that fears them. Every conflict in the show comes back to that same idea. It's about identity, acceptance, fear, and hope. Whether you are Team Xavier or Team Magneto, you understand why each of them believes they're fighting for a better future. That's what makes the X-Men timeless. The powers are cool, but the people behind those powers are what keeps us invested. X-Men 97 could have been another nostalgia cash grab. Instead, it became something much more impressive. It respected the original series without relying on it. It gave nearly every major character meaningful development. It balanced incredible action with genuine emotional weight, and reminded everyone that superhero stories don't need to be bigger, they just need to be better written. If this is the future of Marvel animation, then honestly, I can't wait to see what's next. Season 2's first few episodes have just been released, and we are off to a great start. I know what I will be doing every Wednesday, but what do you think? Did X-Men 97 live up to the hype, or do you think people are giving it a little bit too much credit? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell for more notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next one.